And your time now, 23 minutes past 10. We're moving on to a very fascinating thing it's something that the show has touched on every now and then. We've spoken about people who've seen unidentified flying objects, or ETAs, or whatever you want to call it. And Randall Nickerson is busy doing a film on an experience that happened in Zimbabwe. And he joins us tonight to talk about that. Randall, great having you on the show tonight.
Hi, Kino. Yeah.
Great. Just tell us a bit about yourself, man, and what brings you to lovely Cape Town.
Oh, God, it's been a trip from Zimbabwe to here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from New York City, and born in Massachusetts, and I had been approached with some footage that was shot in 1994 of a Harvard psychiatrist who had interviewed all these kids in Ruwa in Zimbabwe at this school, and they had this sighting of this craft and apparently two creatures that had come out of it. And couldn't make a movie out of that. I mean, the footage just to me was pretty profound. I mean, they're such young kids and all telling the same story, drawing the same pictures.
Well, we were looking at about how many kids? 62 school children that saw this.
Yeah, 62 school children.
Yeah.
And some staff, and also many people in the surrounding area.
They saw a cross. I find this fascinating. It's you normally hear people say, I've seen an alien, or I've been abducted by an alien, and they dissected me. And initially you go cuckoo, because but you've got 62 children. I would imagine most of them have been interviewed, as you were saying. You looked at the footage of the psychiatrist that did the interview. Did he only interview the school children, or some of the senior staff?
No, he interviewed the staff and some of the workers, and at the time. Yeah. And now it's funny because I was really surprised when I went to the Ariel School in Ruwa to find that there were more people. There were many more witnesses and to this thing, which was really shocked me. It was quite a big event.
Okay, paint the picture for us. So here we are. We're sitting at a dinner table. We meet Randall Nickerson, who has decided to do something on this, but you couldn't use the footage. You can't make a film out of a whole bunch of interviews, obviously. What did they describe?
They described this main craft of some kind that was silver, disc-shaped. That was also, it wasn't just one, but it was one main one that had come down from the sky. But they were also seeing these smaller objects moving about. And I mean, not all of the children saw the entire event, you know. So it in that way it varies a little bit as the children became aware, you know. But once that thing came down, most of the kids rushed to the edge of the schoolyard. Yeah. And apparently one of the way they describe it, a small being of some kind in black got out of the craft and was standing on top of it, and another one also similar in description and color came down toward where the kids were, the children were at the edge.
Now, before you go ahead and decide to do something like this, I believe that you were approached by Professor John Mack, the late Professor Mack, Pulitzer Prize winner, of course.
Yeah, I was approached. He actually passed away about 4 years ago, and I was approached by Dominique Kalamanopoulos, and who was very, very close to John Mack, and also the foundation that was set up. And you know, he apparently, you know, had always wanted to complete this documentary. I mean, it was one of his things that he wanted to get out to the public. I mean, looking at it, I mean, I could just literally put those interviews in, just the interviews in a film, and it would speak so loudly because the kids, it's just amazing when you see the entire interviews.
These interviews have been done individually, of course.
Yes.
Okay, because obviously if you do interviews of that nature, you want to look at authenticity, and you want to see whether, if you put all of them together, everybody can come up with a great story.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many interviews do you have?
I believe there's 14 at this time, from that time period.
Wow.
And I'm going, I am in touch with most of the children. I wouldn't say most. I would say a good 30 to 40%, but it's changing day by day. I've been getting in touch with more and more of them.
Well, this took place in Zimbabwe, the UFO sighting 1994. We're at 2008 at the moment, so these people are in their 20s at the moment.
Yeah, I was just speaking to one of them tonight,
yeah.
And he's 27, and we're going to be meeting tomorrow.
Where is he? In Cape Town?
Yeah.
This is awesome. You know what I'd like, actually, if you would maybe assist us with this. Very interesting to actually speak to the gentleman and actually maybe play one of the interviews, maybe his interview, way back. More than a decade ago.
That would be interesting.
I'd like to do that, actually. So, I mean,
I'd have to ask him and find out, how, some people are not so comfortable with.
No, for sure, and one respects that, of course.
Yeah.
But it would be really cool to actually hear his initial interview and then chat to him more than a decade later. But okay, so you're doing this film.
Mm-hmm.
You doing the interview. What else are you doing? I mean, you're going to sit and talk to him about what exactly? Are you going to recap? Or
no, I just the way I approach it. I mean, I don't approach it with any slant at all. I just ask him what happened. And how he would feel about it now, and what his thoughts were, and how that's affected his life, and I mean, it kind of in interviews, they go where they go, and I mean, I personally like to do. That's more my style of following, where we're not try to go in any direction unless it's pertinent, but
sure.
Just what comes out naturally.
100%. Now, if you look at the 14 interviews that you have, and one looks at other UFO sightings around the globe, have there been any similarities between this one and, one in Kyrgyzstan or in the United States or wherever it might have occurred? Have you found any similarities between what the people have described in Zimbabwe and some other sightings across the globe?
Yeah. I mean, the more I've been researching the subject, the more I have been shocked, actually.
Tell me more. Why?
It's just amazing that it's the similar events are happening all over the world.
When you say similar, what do you mean? What sort of things are similar? The way the craft is described, the interaction. What are we talking about?
I would say definitely the craft that's described. And also these creatures, whatever species they are.
Yeah.
The descriptions from what I've been researching are the same. In the United States and Japan and in Peru, and I mean, all over the place. Couldn't
have been a sort of mystery CIA craft, doing its rounds.
I don't know. Yeah, it could be, but there's some short guys.
Maybe they've got some Chinese double agents. I don't know. But you know what, Randall? I think very, very fascinating indeed. I want to do a follow-up. I just wanted to give a basic introduction to this. You're doing your interview tomorrow.
Yeah, as far as I'm pretty sure, yeah.
If you can, I mean, we would like to touch base, and I want to talk about this, just the whole concept in general. I'd like to be able to get my hands on some of those interviews as well, obviously not taking away from your film, but to just replay that to people listening tonight. As a follow-up on tonight's show, it would be just great to play some of those interviews as well. But all the best.
Okay, well, I'll have to, most of the entire interviews are back in the States. but I do have, snippets of from the trailer that was made. And
okay. Well, Randall Nickerson.
Yeah.
Joining us, thank you very much, from New York City, busy making a film about a UFO sighting in 1994. Interesting stuff. Now, when I say UFO sighting, and when you hear people say they've seen UFOs, what's the first thing that hops into your mind? Let's talk about our perception about people who believe that they've seen UFOs or that they've been abducted. I must be honest with you. I must be very honest. My initial thoughts are, okay, let's get the doctors in and have them checked out. They might be slightly cuckoo, is what would pop up in my mind first of all. But then I ask myself the question, should we be so supremely arrogant to believe that we are the only living, intelligent species around? Given the vastness, given the things we don't know, should we be that supremely arrogant? I mean, I firmly believe that there are other people on other planets. Be very interested to find out what sort of religions they are as well. Religion, a big debate in this world, isn't it? But I firmly believe that there's life on other planets. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Have you been abducted by an alien? I'd like to hear from you as well. Have you seen a UFO? And what do you think about the concept and the topic on the whole? Got an email to talk about this. Someone suggesting that we talk about UFOs and UFO sightings. And read this article about Randall Nickerson making a film about the UFO sighting in Zimbabwe in 1994. It was morning break, September the 14th. Of that year, 1994, 62 school children between the ages of 8 and 12 saw a strange craft land 150 meters away from the Ariel School in Ruwa, from which two small beings emerged, says the article. And they described it as having big eyes like rugby balls. We're wearing black, the eyes are like rugby balls. Maybe it was the New Zealand team spying on what we were doing. And what Africa had to offer from a rugby perspective. I don't know, but what do you make of these type of sightings and stories? Some people say it's just a blinking waste of time. It's a waste of time. Why haven't talked about it? Other people say, well, there are beings out there. Others say rubbish. What do you say? Talk to you next. Talk to you next.